In this factory, hundreds of noodles are produced. The meal that young and old love. In this video, we will learn about the path that noodles take from beginning to end, in addition to the different components that influence their composition and the machines that help in making large quantities of noodles in a short time. Before entering the factory, workers wash their hands well and sterilize them in order to avoid transferring bacteria into the factory. They also wear white suits that cover their entire body in addition to their hair. After finishing, they enter the factory. These bones, from which the pieces of meat were previously taken, are inserted and placed into this machine, which transfers them to a huge pot that cooks these bones in order to make a soup that is included in the composition of the noodle sauce. Here we see large pieces of meat being taken by the worker and inserted into this machine, which cuts them into equal circles. Which will be also taken and placed inside another machine that cuts those slices into small squares. And put it in a huge bowl with water. Here women wash and peel green and white onions. After that, they put the white onions into the cutting machine, which turns them into very small squares. This constantly rotating machine is the machine that specializes in making the famous noodle sauce. Spices and condiments are added to this soup, and the machine mixes the ingredients well until it turns black. The sauce is pumped and packaged in small packets. Then pass it into a bath of cold water in order to lower its temperature. Here the sauces are combined together in order to be distributed over the noodle dough later. This machine specializes in making vegetables that accompany the noodles, which mainly consist of carrots, green onions, and fungi. These vegetables will be mixed between each other and placed in packets. Now we will show you how the beloved noodle dough is prepared and how it gets the distinctive spiral shape. This mixture is added to the flour, and this machine mixes them well and turns them into a cohesive dough. This machine gives the spiral shape that characterizes noodles. The noodles are placed in molds to take the shape of the container in which they will be placed. These little bells eliminate distortions that may appear in the finished noodles. The noodles and their sauce are combined in one packet, in addition to the vegetables.